Welcome to the shop, a Moto podcast with your host, Jake Lowry and Grayson Crum.
Oh, what's up, guys?
What's up, Jake?
Live.
Shop Moto Pod
Live with a
for the guests.
studio guest. Oh my!
I hope this actually works out.
Yeah,
Yeah, little audio
it might
difficulties.
It might be scrapped. We never know.
Might be the long lost recording.
We've had a couple of those. We've had
It's
more.
been a while.
Yeah,
It's been a little bit. So, for people that don't know, McQueen, Lightning
Yeah.
McQueen, number 95, red. What kind of car is that?
Chevy.
Pixar car.
Is it- Okay, well, whatever.
It's like a Supra or something.
Yeah.
So McQueen Treadwell in studio.
McQueen. Those are the only two people that call me that. So
Well, I don't think everybody knows that's your name.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my middle name. It's where I get Mac from. Mac Treadwell.
What's your
Yeah.
first name?
Charles.
Oh, what's
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
we
Yeah,
got
my
something in
social
common.
security number.
Yeah,
is
two.
open too.
What's your mom's
My
maiden name? With two Charles in studios. Wow.
That's my first name.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Long lost.
You didn't think I was that sophisticated, huh?
Is it a sophisticated name?
100%.
Yeah.
All right.
Charles.
That's like a royalty name.
Oh yeah.
Like
For sure.
Yeah, Royal.
King Charles of England.
Yeah. King Charles of Mississippi Moto.
That's
Oh,
not anybody.
yes, that's it for sure. We're changing Jake's Instagram name.
So new sponsor. We'll be waiting on our check, Fox. Thanks to Mac over here.
He took advantage of the 20% off Black Friday sale.
Black
Yep.
Friday sale.
So
through Sunday here at Graham.
Through Monday.
Monday. Even
Monday.
better.
Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
so come in Monday, grab you some Fox head to toe,
Yeah.
and you may get a free water bottle.
All right, so we were gonna maybe have Shaw on, but our technical difficulties are gonna not let that happen today.
Limit us.
Yep.
Which is all right. I mean, I think we got it. We have plenty of banter for sure. We have plenty of questions. We're gonna go deep into McQueen's brain on what he thinks about Mississippi Moto, Mid-South Moto, honestly in general.
Yeah.
Because I
Mid-South.
think
American Moto in general.
no, they have it good out
That's
west.
a whole other rabbit hole to go down. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll be mostly amateur moto for this area.
Yes.
That'll be the episode.
Uh-huh. Which
Yeah.
is fitting.
Well, there's no pro racing to talk about right now, anyways. Until Ken Roxon talks about where he's going to go. There's nothing else to talk about.
I mean, there is a race in Florida going on right now that's
That's
somewhat of a big deal.
How many entries do you think that?
4,000 minimum.
Minimum.
Fill that place up.
Yeah, they had. I know of at least 10 classes that had 3 divisions.
Yeah. I was
So
texting Grayson about that earlier this week. Just watching it, a couple classes had Division 1, Division 2, and then next thing you know, it shows Division 3 on the side.
yeah,
Couldn't believe it.
I couldn't imagine going down there and you have a full gate of LCQ. Only they take 3 of them and like a 2-lap race.
It was top 12 out of each division.
Yeah.
So that's 24, 36 kids right there.
Yeah, so they take top
Yeah.
4.
I remember racing and having that many kids in my class there.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you nervous?
Unbelievable.
Was I nervous?
Yeah,
Nah, I don't think so.
because you knew you were one of the
No,
fast 40.
I didn't ever do super, super good there. I think I got a top 15 on an 85. Maybe some top 10s in Supercross in the B class.
That's pretty good.
But outdoors, I didn't get top 10 outdoors. Maybe top 15, top 20.
Why were you better at Supercross?
Because you could just get a good start and the tracks.
Yeah,
you know.
that track starts everything.
It was harder back then. They had actual stadium whoops. Now they don't. They just have rollers, which
Yeah.
is what I mean. Whatever.
Well, you can't put a set of Anaheim 1 whoops in there.
Dude, they used to do some pretty gnarly ones.
That's you can. You're gonna kill people.
Okay, these weren't like as big as Supercross or as spaced out, but they were real stadium whoops, and you blitzed them.
Really?
So, but I don't get why they went away from that. So,
Well, I don't know that whoops and amateur motocross belong in the same sentence, but
dude, they did it. They did it for years. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's changed a lot since 2008. The last time I went there, it might have been 2007. Yeah, it was 2007.
Well, and what I've noticed too is that some kids will do SX, some kids will do both, and then some kids will only do motocross. So different people show up for different stuff throughout the week.
I did MX only until the last 2 years, I think, and then I did both.
Were you getting points back then for Supercross?
No, they didn't get points for Supercross back then.
Yeah, it's top 20 now, right?
I don't know.
I think it is.
I don't keep up with it.
I think Max. I think it's top
20.
And they do it like the Supercross points, where it's like 20th will get 1 point, and they'll go up and like Hagen Deegan got like 26 points or whatever for Supercross.
So the way when I got my Supercross license, you got an outdoor first. There was no like points or series to go get a Supercross license. It was you get your license for outdoors, which was going to pro-ams, you get your points, so many within a year. I think it was like 100 points. Then you get a pro license, go to some outdoor events, then you ask for your Supercross license. They would look back at how you had done outdoors. Bam, here's your Supercross license.
Yeah, and then back then too, what was the Loretta's finish for a pro license? It wasn't.
They didn't have that.
Oh, that wasn't.
No, if they did, it was like top 5 or top 10.
Yeah, but not top 40.
Yeah, it was pretty high.
Yeah,
it was pretty high. I think it was top 10.
Yeah,
which is gnarly.
In the A class.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't. I've said it for years, and I'll back behind it. I think Minios is the worst event of the entire year. Minio Supercross. The outdoor track
it's not a true testament of who's fast.
I'm with you.
There's nothing different between that and NIMS night racing. None.
Wow.
The track is the exact
same. It's a little bit.
No. Okay, if Hayden Deegan comes to North Mississippi and races on night track, it's going to be the same. He's going to be like, this is like Minios. I will back that 100%.
We'll just move on.
No, dude.
I feel like I'm showing up and getting the whole shot on him. If I hold him off for 4 or 5 laps, I mean, I might get a YouTube channel after that.
Yeah, the French kid did it.
Yeah, but he didn't beat him.
No, and then he got him. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, but he pulled a start on him and just held him off.
Yeah, I mean that's all it is.
It's doable. If I was, let's just say, if I was there racing pro class, I would wait for Deegan to lap me. And then I would saw his front end off. I mean, I would take the entire forks and triple clamps right off the bike for him just so I can get on Vital. That would be my whole goal.
No, you'd have to claim the bike.
Oh, and then I would claim the bike how it is. I'd be like,
You just want to get on Vital?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I can start the red value on Vital right now.
I want Jamie like calling me, asking me like what happened and my
it's gonna be on the front page of Vital.
Yeah. Podcaster takes out. Lap rider takes out Hayden Deegan at Minios.
And then claims the bike.
It's just me saying, like, I paid my money too, like on the front page.
Do they have the claim rule at the Minios?
I don't think so.
I think any AMA race, right?
Yeah.
It's AMA rule book.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. So we could just like slide in, Monster, claim a bike. It's doable.
Whose bike you going to claim at Monster?
Corey's. I want that YZ. I'm taking his bike home just to piss him off.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so getting into what we're actually going to talk about, let's first start off with your guys' weekend from the past weekend at Golden Pine.
Golden Pines, Mississippi. Awesome weekend. Awesome time. It was my first time down there to Golden Pines. I would always tell people I've ridden a lot of tracks around the South, and Golden Pines and Wildwood are two that I've still not checked off the list. So Wildwood's up next, and Golden Pines was awesome. Great place, great weekend, good group there. We all camped together and ate some good food, and I put 3 to 4 engine hours on my bike in 2 days, so did a lot of riding.
Yeah,
that's kind of about the same thing Grayson said about it.
Yeah, like I think it was, I had low expectations because I heard of what happened the weekend before with the race. And so I'm like, going in, I'm just like, dude, I'm here to just get twisted with Shaw. That's the only thing. That was my goal all weekend.
And you succeeded.
I did succeed. I checked that one off for sure. And
go ahead and insert some clips.
Oh yeah,
right now.
Jumping over the fire. But like I think the amount of people we had, amount of fast guys, not fast like AB rider, but really good. I would say like our crew was a really good, solid mixture, and we put in lines, and I think that's what made it good. Like it was starting to get pretty nice by the end with the forecast and keeping the moisture in the ground there, and I think it ended up being way better than I expected. It was a lot of fun I've had in a long time. And me and Mac were talking. We said like we've been grinding for like 2 years of just doing races, like not really going just like practice weekends to hang out. And I think it's
especially big tracks like that. You know, we'll go to NIMS on a Sunday or something, but just to have a big group that we usually all go race with, and to say, hey, we're going to go here and just practice all weekend.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to go down and see if there's a race order, things like that. Just no stress. Just go get on the bike whenever you want.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Hanging out all weekend. We had the LaBeoufs and what's Eric's last name?
John, Mr. Andrews.
Yeah, Andrews. Yeah, cooking us like factory food. It was so impressive of like how nice we had it, because they were just there hanging out, cooking for us, and it was a really awesome weekend. I think
Keith Blakeney brought a brisket down there too. It was awesome.
For lunch. So, we ate brisket for lunch, Jake. Think about that. So
it was a factory program all weekend. Yeah. So
I hate I missed it.
You have fun with your ham and cheese sandwiches while we were eating brisket.
I don't think I ate ham and cheese sandwiches, but
I think it was a good weekend. Me and Shaw, I think, single-handedly paid for at least one race of Kenny contract if he goes to Twisted Tea.
Oh yeah, so, that's a new piston if needed.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And so I think that's what's all about. Local moto. We're not expecting to go to Ironman or Lincoln Trail with the tracks like that. Just going and hanging out.
Yeah, awesome time.
Well, the main reason to talk about that and to get us into all the questions is, how was the track?
I went in no expectations. Like I said, I'd never been to Golden Pines. I'd heard, awesome track, awesome dirt. It's changed ownership a little, a couple times, which in the motocross world is always kind of dicey when tracks start changing owners like that. And so, like I said, no expectations, but I like the dirt. Dirt was really good. In a way, it's kind of like Monster and some sand got together and, kind of made a track. I would kind of compare it to that, I guess. Parts of it, a lot of sand, and then kind of like that front half of the track as kind of more just that Mississippi red clay that we ride a lot of up here sometimes. And it was good. I mean, obviously needed some TLC. I mean, how long ago did the owner take it over? I don't know what the condition was when he got it, but I definitely think there's some work to do. But he was there, and track was good. I don't think there was much that could have been done unless he wanted to go the route of let's rip it deep and do all that. But there weren't a ton of bikes there this whole weekend, and I mean some jump faces needed some work. Some were just a little tough to get some lift to really get over those knuckle landings. Couple moments where some of us kind of would clip some landings and get close if we didn't compress the suspension right, but
must have been Grayson.
I clipped a lot of landings.
Yeah, but we all made it out of there safe and sound. No one had any big get-offs. So, but like I said, I definitely think it could use some work, but hopefully it just keeps in that upward trending direction. So, but no expectations for me. Grayson might be a better.
Yeah, because I went back in
2021.
No, that I did there. I went there too, and it was about the same with the old
That was the guy from Oregon that owned it, or Washington State.
Yeah, but I went my first time going. It was maybe the year after I did the school with you. And
so 14 or 15.
Yeah, and so I remember going, and it was a practice day, or no, it was a race weekend. I just ended up raining. No, I raced. So like the practice day, I remember that whole, where the start behind the start line, all that was full. Where we parked was full, and there was people parking on the other side behind the shop on that side. They were starting to make people park right there. So it was like
big practice weekend.
Yeah, big turnout for the race and stuff. And I don't really remember the track conditions on how it was. I remember some spots, some sections going in, like that front section with the 3 jumps that we were parked at. You would drop into that like sand turn. That's all it was. And you would drop into just massive braking bumps. And like I remember some of the pro guys, like Robbie, was like jumping into one of the braking bumps and landing in it and keep going. And I was like, that's like what I remember when I think that's what some of the crew that we were with it remembers it being. And I don't know who that owner was or how long.
That was the original Randy Rector.
Okay, yeah. So I know you said he went to the Reddis, Jake. He was a Reddis, that guy.
Yeah, Randy, like he raced little bikes. So when my grandpa and dad had the track in Pearl, Randy used to race 80s with Kevin Windham. So that kind of tells you, history of him.
Yeah.
But even like when I was growing up, he would go to races with us, and he would be like plus 30, plus 35. He parked with us at Loretta's one year. So
like the track, not one thing has changed about it. And so
layout's the same.
Yeah, exact same. Every jump, every like inside everything were the same. So
I'll say something. I don't care if it hurts people's feelings. I don't think anybody since Randy knows how to do anything to change it.
It'd be hard, but
are you talking about layout changes or just kind of fixing it up?
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he had a dozer out there.
Yeah, but it's not. I've operated a dozer. I've helped build a track. All I did was push dirt.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not hard.
Yeah.
But to push it up into a jump, actually face it, make it something that somebody can ride on, that ain't easy.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, that's hard. That's skill.
Yeah.
To do something like that. Yeah, I mean, I could agree with you. Maybe when they bought it, when the John before owned it, like maybe he was planning on, if he had it for a while, paying somebody to come out, and just doing it for him since he didn't know how to. Maybe that's how the new owner is going to be, or how I would do it. If I didn't know how to face a jump, I would pay somebody to come out there, but I'm not going to redesign the whole track. That would be a big.
I wouldn't redesign the whole thing, but there's sections that you can do.
Yeah.
Like there's things you can change. Just change one thing at a time. I'm going to change this section over here. Okay, we keep it for a couple months, and then I'm going to change this.
You see that with Monster Mountain a lot. They'll change one thing. Swan, like they have a million ways to put that track together if they want to change one thing. And I think that keeps people coming back saying, oh, like, I didn't really like that section last time, but they changed it. I want to go back and ride there again and see if it's different. Or, oh, like that seems cool. I want to go try that out. And let's go there this weekend.
And actually, Randy used to change Golden Pine like that. So before the finish area, that used to be totally different. The finish used to be a big tabletop in the middle of that field. So the rollers were cut in half. They weren't that long at one time.
Oh, wow.
This was way back. But even so, like the show jump, turn, right, left, the 3 jumps, you go down, you kind of come up into a big bank.
Yep.
Used to go straight up, and you had you could triple double up to the top of the hill, and you went back down where the first turn's at. You didn't do that little S thing back up, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just did different things to lengthen it and change some different things. But it's things like that. Like you could easily cut that one section out, make that step up spot again.
Yeah.
And you have a different route. When you open this weekend, the first weekend of the month, you got a layout. In 3 weeks, we're going to open again. It's a total different layout. Yeah. It's almost a different track.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what kind of scares me right now too, is it seems like they're open a lot trying for a lot during the week, things like that. And that's great. I want there to be open tracks for people to go ride, but when you don't kind of do it more time in between, maybe you keep some track prep in between instead of just opening another day. It also encourages more riders for when the day you do open, and they don't just know, oh, well, it's open all week next week.
We can go whenever.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So it's kind of what I expected, from seeing pictures down there.
Yeah.
What's the owner? He was telling me he's from Kentucky, and he's pretty big in the ATV scene. So I don't know what his ATV crowd looks like. I mean, maybe he gets a big following from that. I would imagine. I think
ATV racing is almost dead.
Well, who knows? I know he was telling me a lot of the Florida guys will come up, but I'm definitely curious as to what plans are for that going forward.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. maybe there's things in the future that if the tracks will be like, okay, dude, I trust you. Like, I'm the track owner. I'll run the race. I've got the track, the equipment. But if you got like a certain way it needs to be prepped, we're going to listen to that, do it that way, run the race how you say to run it, and then like has a better turnout, has a better idea.
Right.
Maybe something like that in the future.
Yeah, because I saw where he closed the day of rain, the race. People
Yeah.
were saying like it was slick and stuff. I'm like, yeah, if it would have been anywhere, like, you know, somewhere that dirt holds water really well. So like if you would have ripped it, it would have just soaked it right in.
Yeah, but he doesn't know anything about ripping
That's what I'm
it.
saying. So like maybe he'll learn. Maybe he's willing to take. I didn't really talk to him much, so I don't know if he's a total asshole or if he's the nicest guy in the world. I don't know him like that. So maybe he's willing to learn and try stuff. You know, that's all you can do is try. If you fail,
Yeah.
you go back to what it was before.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, at least, you know, Golden Pond's changed hands again, and it's still a guy that wants to keep it a motocross track who owns it now.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's better than nothing. And I think that, you know, he took it over recently, and like I said, I didn't really ask him about his plans, but definitely curious to see what he tries to do.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, well, that kind of gets us into the questions. Do you have any questions? Because I did my homework.
I only have 2.
Okay, well, I have 5.
Okay, yeah.
But these are for all the 3 of us.
Okay. My 2 are just about him.
About him
Yeah.
or for him?
Both. About for him. Yeah.
Okay, do mine first?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are your opinions on the current state of Mississippi Moto? Or we'll say Mid-South Moto.
Mid-South, yeah. I mean, it's trying, I guess. I don't know. I think it's not just tracks. I think it's all of us. Are we going to ride those tracks? Are we, you know, maybe not riding every single weekend and saying, okay, we'll save a little more money and then we'll go down to, you know, Golden Pines in 2 weeks, or, you know, we'll go check out that track in Alabama or something like that. And, you know, but also still trying the balance of, you know, let's go to NIMS, let's go to Back 40, you know, when they open, things like that, when they have a race, you know, try and support all of it. And I think, I don't know. I mean, I think there's always room for improvement. There definitely is. And you can kind of get into a more broad perspective of, well, motocross itself needs to fix a lot of things. It needs to, I mean, to me, it all comes down to communication. You have tracks trying to schedule stuff on top of each other. And that splits the crowd. And next thing you know, somebody isn't happy because they didn't get the turnout they wanted for their race because another track had a big prep practice and hadn't been open in a while. And, you know, if they all communicated, I think it would just be 10 times better right off the bat.
Yeah, I agree with it. We all need to communicate and be on the same page. So you get the guys, I'm going to exclude me because I can't always go. And that's not because I don't want to go. That's just because I can't.
You know,
I got other obligations.
You have kids, you know,
yeah,
I'm sitting here just, if I can afford it, I'll go.
Yeah, but no, like there are guys that they want to go ride for the weekend, but they won't support certain track. So then they either don't ride or they go 6 hours away because they want to go to something different. Those guys, we need those guys to stay and go to the certain track that's open that weekend, and everybody go to that track. And maybe if everybody supports it, the person might be a little more willing to, like, hey, which I know, like, I will say NIMS previous with Jeff owning it, it didn't matter. He's not listening to nobody, you know, so I know that. So it's like, okay, we should just all give up on that. But like the new guy, he will listen. He's trying. So we should all support that and try to go when he's open. At Levy View, Roland's place. I feel like Roland's trying. He wants to make it bigger and better. We all need to go support that when he opens. The guys at Pine Bluff, go support them when they open because they're trying. So it's like what you're saying is 100% true. We all need to go to the places when they open,
right?
And give them a good crowd, good, you know, let them make some money. But on the other hand, when the track gets to where they're not going to try, I mean, how do you support it?
Yeah, and that's like when it's tough sometimes when some track has a big open practice and then a lot of people go, the crowd goes, and then next thing you know, the prep wasn't there, or maybe they ended up getting rain the night before and it's rained out, and then people just leave with a bad taste in their mouth, thinking, oh, well, I don't know if I want to come back here. I didn't have fun today for whatever reason, and that's just kind of the it's case by case. But how do you fix that?
So let's talk about the rain thing. I don't think they should rain out. If you get enough guys riding, it doesn't take that long for the track to work in.
Yeah,
I mean, when it rained at back 40, it was greasy at first.
Yeah.
But half the people left.
Yeah.
So it took. Well, the second motos were perfect.
Yeah.
So even the last of the few first motos were good. If that half of the people that left wouldn't have left, okay, so that would have cut the time in half. I mean, the first 6 or 8 motos would have been greasy, and then it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
It's just everybody has to stick to it and stay there and try.
Yeah.
But even if it was like a monsoon, if you have the ambition of going to Loretta's, you better stay and ride in it.
Ride in the mud.
Yeah, you better ride in it.
I don't know
And it sucks.
I'd rather practice in it first. If NIMS was if it's supposed to rain tomorrow, if NIMS would open Sunday, and there's like, hey, dude, just come out, ride. It's gonna be whatever. Then I might go practice in it just so I could practice in it. But like, put me in a race situation of racing in it. I only have 4 laps. Then I'm gonna sit for a while, and I'd like to practice in it where I could stay out there for as long as I want, knowing I'm like, I could even cut the track, get in sections, work on this section the whole time. I'd be down for something like that.
Well, we do need to practice in it, and the tracks do need to be open. I could see track owners being like, oh, man, you know how much work it is, but, I mean, you really just get on a tractor with a box blade and blade it all back. It's not like, I don't feel like it's that much. I'm sure one of them will listen to this and, flip out because they had to spend $1,000 in diesel to fix it.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that either.
Which it would suck. But, yeah, I think, what was your question before? We were talking about something before.
Your opinions, the current state of Moto.
I think there's
so I guess there could be 2 for that.
There's something.
We were just doing tracks.
Let's talk about tracks. Let's talk about. I think more people need to be racing.
Yeah.
I think current state of Mississippi Moto, Mid-South. I think you have a lot of people, maybe that have a bad taste in their mouth with racing. Which I don't want to jump ahead, but you can get into too many classes, things like that. But I think that to help it, communication is the biggest thing. Whether it's race series. I know arena cross gets in the way for the guys that like to do that sometimes. And I just think tracks generally posting and promoting a little better about, hey, we're open, we're doing this, post some pictures of the track. That always gets more eyes on stuff. People share it, Yeah,
I think if they had it where I think there's like a border between like Mississippi, around Tennessee, and maybe like Arkansas, where no one likes this. Like, no one likes those 3 states at all. Because, like, Alabama Moto, I would say is popping.
Alabama Moto is pretty good.
Yes, absolutely. I would say, and they have a lot of, for some reason, they have a lot of communication. Like, if Crossbone's opening and Monster's opening, they'll, like, schedule different ones. Or that Monster will be like, hey, man, Crossbone's opening this weekend. We're not going to open. Y'all go support them. Come see us next weekend. And stuff like that. I think that makes me be like, man, like if they're willing to do that, that's pretty cool of them to do that. I know Dodge Cities, they're trying. It's just a little bit outside of like a day trip. So that's why I haven't made it over there yet. I know.
We definitely need to go check that place out soon. They put in a lot of work.
Yeah, no, and I've seen that. Bailey Greaves been over there, and I think it'd be something like they're trying over there, but it's somehow like I feel like they doesn't mix a lot. Like a lot of people don't go to Alabama. I know a lot of Alabama people, and we've talked about that with the King of Mouse stuff. Don't come over here. Don't go to NIMS. If you're on the board and they don't go to NIMS, I'm like, well, I mean, y'all aren't helping. Y'all helping y'all's Alabama crew, but spread it around. Like, you don't see us just being like, oh no, I'm not going over to Pine Bluff because Arkansas. Like it's a dirt bike track. I'm gonna go over there if they're open, and I'm not doing anything. So I think it's something like that where Alabama, for some reason, they look at other people's schedule. They see what's going on. They're aware of what's happening around just Alabama. Like, back 40, I know because Bryce races, so he knows what races are going on. So he's not going to schedule a race when, some Crossbone or McClarty. He's not going to schedule the same weekend McClarty because he knows there's only a 3-hour drive right there.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make any sense to do it. I think he's aware of that. If you had more track owners being just more aware of what's going on.
So, Arkansas, their series did pretty decent this year. I feel like it's getting better in Arkansas.
Yeah, I haven't looked at anything.
I'll tell you, West Tennessee, there's not really any tracks anymore. Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to count West Tennessee because what racetrack is in West Tennessee?
Well, you can probably group back 40 in there, but I mean, it's West Tennessee.
I'll put back 40 in.
But
that's
a good point. Yeah. I think back 40 is a perfect example of how it can work. You know, that's a relatively new track compared to a lot of ones in this area. They've had races, they've had practices, and every single time I've been there, the track's been awesome. Yeah. There's always been a huge turnout, and it's been well ran, and it's never been necessarily, like you said, scheduled on top of something going on. You know, NIMS has a race, back 40 hasn't scheduled, things like that, even practice. And it's just, that's proof of, hey, if you just kind of get some 2 cents together, it can work.
I think they have the formula down on track prep and stuff. Now they've been open for a year and a half now. They know exactly what to do. So now they're doing it faster and more efficient. So now they don't have to spend a whole day before prepping it. They're like, okay, if we get there at 3:00, we have it prepped the exact same for tomorrow's practice. I think it's saving them money. Yeah, you're not on the dozer all day now because you know what to do, when to do it, and everything like that.
Yeah. So the one thing that's changed for the Mid-South area since Mac, you weren't racing at this time, but Grayson was. But the thing that's changed since King of the Hill and now, so what, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, those years, is a good promoter. The guys that ran King of the Hill, they went to all the tracks. Everybody was in the same series. They didn't race on top of each other. They didn't practice on top of each other.
Yeah, they kind of formed their own.
Dude, they had big turnouts.
Yeah.
I mean, there was easily 300 at a lot of races.
Yeah, which is pretty big.
That's big for our area.
Yeah. That's huge. I mean, I'd be stoked if I went to a race like that and it was local.
Cartwright, Casey Cochran, Zach Bishop, Matthew Weekly.
Fast guys.
I mean, I was there, Johnny Moore, which we were already pro riders at that time. But
Johnny's more than you.
Exactly, 100%.
I put Johnny Moore, then you were there.
Okay.
Not you were there, then
Johnny Hollywood Moore.
And he was there. And then you were there. Yeah.
And then me.
Yeah.
So
and then you.
Yeah.
But we were already established. Me and Johnny were already pros. But you had Cartwright, you had Zach Bishop, you had Matthew Weekly, Clipple a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, it helped produce these kids a little bit.
Yeah.
Even Casey. Casey was on a 50. Kinsey, like it produced some pretty good riders.
Yeah.
And yes, they were going other places, but they had a local series in the fall from August to the end of November. They could race almost every weekend at a track that had ruts, was rough, good turnout, decent sized gate. Like, that's what you need. That's what the area needs to grow and to produce people. We don't have that. So Central Mississippi has never had that.
Yeah.
We had Golden Pine that had just one-off races a lot of times. Every now and then they'd get another series with Louisiana. They had good turnouts for those. But they could just have a one-off race on their own, and they would have a good turnout. Because people knew from an area or a regional, we know what this track is. If they open, we're going.
Yeah, stuff like that. And I think
Same with Wildwood. When I was a kid growing up, Wildwood would just open, dude, 400 entries. Really? Massive. Everybody from Louisiana was going. Everybody from, dude, Brandon and Blair Miller, Josh Cartwright, Chris Tracy.
They go down there?
Dude, all the time. We'd race there, bam, they were there.
Yeah, I'm surprised. See, I don't know the King of the Mountains schedule as much. I think there's a balance between how many races in a span of time and how many races and then those races. So
King of the Mountains, like starts in March.
Yeah, it goes.
Because I raced the first round, and then it ends in November.
Yeah,
that's too much. It's too long.
I think they need to cut the schedule in half.
You need to have a spring series,
yes,
and a fall series.
Well, isn't there 15 of them? Didn't you say?
I think it was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
I think. From what I remember, I might be wrong, but
well, hey, King of the Hill, I mean, it had a lot of races. Like it would start in August, the weekend after Loretta's, and it would go through like either right before Thanksgiving or the weekend, or maybe the last weekend. So, and it would, man, they might race 3 weekends out of the month. So you'd have a dozen or 15 races.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're kind of getting a little much.
Yeah.
But they tried to add more later on, and that was not a good idea. So to me, I think race-wise, locally, I'm thinking 1 weekend a month. The other weekend is a practice weekend.
How many? So if I'm asking both of y'all, if y'all had to put it, how many races in a span of time would y'all do it? So like
For a series?
Yes, for if you had to make your own series.
All right, so if I was gonna do, say I was gonna do like July, August, September, October, possibly like the 1st of November.
5 months.
So 5 months, but I'm at the very end of July.
Yeah.
So like, not the last weekend because that's the start of Loretta's. The weekend before that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the first weekend of November.
Okay.
So I'm really probably 4 months.
Yeah. 4 to 4
I'm
months.
probably 6 or 7 races
That's
in
what
there
I was going to say.
at the most.
That would make sense. Yeah.
At the most.
Make it where
because
you're not paying money out because it's expensive to race now. So you're not burning people out on money, but it's enough to be like, yeah, I could do this.
Well, and you have more people saying they're going to chase points that way too, and to some people that's a big deal. They want to get some series overall. I know you can apply for maybe some kid wanting to get some discount for some brand. If he can say that he had some series overall, that's good. It's hard to do with 15 rounds though.
Yeah, especially with I know contingency. You can get contingency in it. I know did Cade he did, or Cade and Wade, they both did the whole
Flat Showdown series.
I wonder how much contingency they got from that, because it's a big. It's a big because then you can put that in there. If I can get KT contingency and I can get $10 or $10 a race, that's $80. I could buy.
I think what's a perfect example, and I was looking to hopefully try and do 1 or 2 of these this winter, is the Texas Winter Series.
Yeah,
short, brief, but
it's
huge
like
turnouts.
4 or 5 races.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of my idea. I would want to have maybe 6 races at the most.
Yeah.
Okay. And have enough break in between where if a guy wants to go somewhere else, he can race the series, but he can still go to other races.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not stuck to this series only, in this area only. He can go other places. And then you're keeping it fresh a little bit. But I don't know that I would give every track 2 races.
I would think like maybe each track gets 1 race and maybe 1 track doubles up and get another or something.
Maybe.
Like that. Yeah.
But I feel like if you create a good fall series, then you set yourself up for just a one-off race. Because in the spring, the series don't do good in the spring because of area qualifiers.
Yeah.
March, April, May, every weekend's tons of areas everywhere.
June.
So, and then June's not good because of regionals. So most of your guys that really race, they're going to those. Mm-hmm. So you really cut your entries racing that if it's a series.
Yeah.
So, but you kind of got to look at it like if a guy looks at the schedule and he says, well, we're going to miss these 2 because we're going to be area qualifiers. Mm-hmm. We're not going to win now because there's going to be a kid go to every round that he doesn't go to Loretta's. So I don't like these tracks here. So we'll just hit these 3 or 4 races if it's like a big 12 race series.
Yeah.
And then you lose that guy, not because he didn't want to run the series, but it's because those area qualifiers mean more.
Yeah.
And I think these guys that are promoters, they don't put the emphasis on how important the qualifiers are. Yeah. And I mean, they'll race on top of them. You can't do that, dude. You can't. Now, if you got one way off 8 hours away, okay, you race that same weekend. And you might have 5 guys from your area that are going there.
Yeah.
That's fine. You lose those 5 guys. But if it's just a one-off race, you just lose the 5 guys. If it was a series, there might be more guys you lose because then I'm not committing to a series because I'm going to miss multiple for the areas. You get those guys for the 1 race.
Yeah.
But you have a series in the fall to build to pull the guys, and they're like, man, that place is really good, really well-ran race. They get good prizes or whatever. I don't care about that, but there's people that care about their trophies.
I want my trophy, Jake.
I'm sure you do.
And when you go to NIMS tomorrow, you better get my trophy.
I hope the rain holds off. It's not looking good.
I better get my trophy Monday morning. I want it.
Okay. So, but
I need mine too.
Yeah, get two of them.
I think if you build a good fall series, then say I've got NIMS in it. I'm just going to use the tracks we have going now. I got NIMS, I got Levy View, I got Pine Bluff, I got Back 40. I have a 4-race series with those guys. Okay. Now I'm the promoter. I'm going to still help you. We're not going to have the series, but I'm going to do a one-off race.
Yeah.
And you still promote it like you're promoting your series, but you just tell people, hey, it's just one-off race.
Yeah.
Make some special name. It's the Grayson Crum Invitational.
Yeah.
You get a little trophy of Grayson. Who would not want that up on the mantle?
Yeah.
A little Grayson bobblehead. That is perfect. I think we're having a Grayson Invitational with a Grayson bobblehead.
Grayson Invitational. What track is the Grayson Invitational?
It's got to be at Pine Bluff.
Oh, yeah.
Because you did the whole checkered flag, pulling your shirt off, cheating, cutting the track.
Yeah, I was signing autographs,
with the Grayson Invitational, we're going to be like more laxed on rules because it's about him. Kind of like you can cut the track, it's okay.
He would probably be okay with that.
Yeah,
he would be okay.
Can I do it like a Verb does, where like instead of the target, you're
the hired gun.
Yeah, you wear the thing. No, everybody we hired the hired guns, and it's instead of a target on them, they just put my face on the back.
Perfect.
It's the Grayson.
The Cruminator.
Looks like we got a race going on now.
That's great.
You can hold a 30-second board.
So I think that would work better. I think having just have a race that people can show up to. That used to be back in the day. That's how it was. Everything wasn't a series. I feel like people now, they think, oh, I got to be a part of a series, which NIMS did it. Hey, they just had the one-off race, the benefit race. Mm-hmm. So maybe our area will work into that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and Levy View was, I think Roland said he's getting a gate or something. And
I think
maybe try and have a race eventually. I know CJ's been running a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, he wants to do some stuff. I think they got some work to do.
Yeah.
You got to make sure the track can be a racetrack.
For sure.
You can't build something and say, okay, you can, but it might not turn out that good.
Yeah.
To me, if you open the doors for a race, everything needs to be ready to go because you don't want all the negatives.
Yeah.
Then they're not going to give. A lot of people don't give it a second chance.
Yeah. Yeah. So, back to what I said about bad taste in the mouth.
Yeah.
They'll come try it once, but if it's not there, then they don't want to.
Exactly. So that's kind of my idea, and my opinion on why it's down a little bit right now, or has been for a while. It's just we don't have guys putting on events that are attractive to people, and we don't have. We'll get into the next question. It covers what that, and then my next thing is with track prep. So the kids that race really serious, that we kind of lose a little bit. We lose them because of the way the tracks are prepped.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So one of the latest that we lost, and I'm talking about lost him to the sport of motocross, not just lost him for this area. You get guys that they moved to Florida, they moved to Texas, they moved to a training facility because they got to a certain level that our area is just not going to help.
Like they
exactly.
Could elsewhere.
Brady Little. He was the fastest little bike rider in this area.
He was
the closest to making Loretta's. I mean, he was there.
Yeah, he got 7th or 8th at the regional.
He got 10th.
10th.
That's close though. He was a younger kid in the class too.
Better than I've ever done.
Yeah, if he would have raced this year and been racing like he was the year before, he would have made it.
Put it together.
But they've been going to Mount Walker's a lot that year and training a lot, but they had to. This area doesn't support it.
Yeah.
It was not helping him grow.
And he had started out doing a lot of local stuff.
Yeah, they started
night races, arena cross, things like that. And then
100%.
I think Marlon, it kind of clicks with him. If we really want to go to the next level, these are great. We should still come do these races, but we really need to be doing the other ones more.
And they did other races, but they did a lot of training at Matt Walker's.
Yeah.
But what got them?
Where they did training?
Matt Walker. Moto X?
I've never heard
It's
of
gone. They sold it.
it. Okay, yeah, I've never heard of it.
So,
I think I have a house being built there.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you bought it?
Yeah, I'm just building a big commercial subdivision. So.
So,
Okay.
but with Brady, I don't know 100%. I do know a little bit. It was so hard to go race and ride at the level they wanted to be at, living here,
Yep.
that it just put them out.
Yeah.
It was either we're going to be all in and we're going to really try to chase this thing, or we're not going to spend this kind of money anymore because we're spending a lot,
Yeah.
and we can't make it to where we want to be unless we move.
Yeah.
And I don't guess that was in with Marlon's job. He works in Memphis. He can't just up and move, So I think we lost them because our area does not support that level of rider. And when people are like, "Oh, well, you have to go to a training facility for that," I don't believe that. There's tons of kids in the Northeast don't go to training facilities that make it because they can ride and race gnarly tracks every weekend. And when you have that, you're going to produce these kids. And they ride half the year. They're not even riding right now. There's snow on the ground. So, and there are a few that they go down south for, to go to facilities or whatever. But Justin Cooper, prime example, didn't do that. Look at him. Yeah. How did he become one of the fastest 250 guys? If you look at the current way that somebody says it should be, you should have to go to a training facility at 8 years old, give up your whole life, mortgage the house 8 times. My mom and dad get divorced. I hate my dad. Oh, well, I made it now. I don't really think that there's not a for sure recipe for success.
Yeah, I think it's all individual, and that's the same for any sport, just about. I mean, it might not seem like it, but I think that everybody has a different path to going pro and whatever they want to try and chase. But I mean, I definitely don't think it takes all what you said. I think that for a lot of people, that's the image. The kids winning, a lot of them live at those places, but there's still a lot of guys that are getting top 5s at those big races that are, going to school during the week and just trying to make it work on the weekends with their parents traveling to the races.
But most of those guys can race every weekend, and it helps when they have a local track or tracks that they can travel to so they can hit every weekend, and that's really what you got to get. So guys that can go every weekend.
Right.
And you can't do that here unless you want to travel a lot.
Yeah. Which we did.
You did?
We did.
Oh, y'all did. Yeah, you did during the summer. Yeah. Spring and summer.
We travel.
So that's the next question. How do you feel about track prep locally?
I mean, I think that, it depends case by case, but I think that, some of the tracks are doing a great job, and I think that some can do a
you can say names.
Better job.
It's okay.
Well, I mean, you take Back 40, like I said,
they do great.
Awesome job.
Yep.
I've never left there with one complaint. They've done a great job. It seems like bikes of all sizes have fun. The track layout's great for that, and I think they're able to prep it into where it gets deep. And a lot of people say, you know what, man, I didn't feel super fast today, maybe because I struggled, but I got better. And that's what counts. And if you can start to see it from that side, I think that you can learn to appreciate it more. Now, I don't think that if you're some beginner rider just learning how to balance and shift through gears, I'd tell you to come to a full prep practice at Back 40. But I definitely think after a little bit, I think that that's the best place you could possibly be, is a place like that knows how to get it good and knows how to point out some weaknesses. So
me and Grayson talked about this at lunch. So Back 40, technical, no big crazy jumps or anything, but it's technical because it's got some off camber.
Yep.
It's got ruts. It
jumps
gets
right
rough,
out of a corner. Things like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Jumps right out of a corner. Stuff that shouldn't be hard, but it kind of is just by the way it's set up, the way it's prepped, the way it gets rough. So he was mentioning that his mom was like, some of these places have to be easy. And I agree. But not the racetracks. If you're a racer, you're not a beginner. You don't need to be a beginner. I know there's guys that buy a bike on Friday and they show up on Saturday to race, but that's not smart. And as an industry, we need to tell them that you can't do that. Like, hey, you bought this bike, ride for 6 months, ride for a year before you decide to go race. You're gonna have a lot better experience because you're not gonna be like, oh, this is so hard, or I hate this. How do I get to where that guy's at? Well, that guy's been riding for 3 years.
Yeah.
So to me, you got to separate what you expect from just your average practice track versus your actual racetrack. And to me, a racetrack that has a practice day, that's for the racer that's needing to practice. So back 40 is a racetrack. You don't have your beginner guys showing up there. You prep it gnarly because your guys that need that, they know to go there. MX 211, perfect.
Yeah.
Beginner track.
Yeah, and
beginner guys.
And I don't think they boast that they're going to be some.
They don't.
Lincoln
They don't.
Trail, back 40, gnarly ruts, whatever. I think that they're saying, hey, come ride this weekend. We want it to be a family atmosphere. Come ride your dirt bike, 30 minutes north of Memphis. And I think that's awesome. I think it's a great place for that.
What I'm saying is the miscommunication or the misunderstanding that people have with, like, if somebody goes to back 40 and they like that track, they're a beginner, that's more their level, and then they go to back 40 and they hate it and they bash it.
Oh,
you said back 40 twice.
If they go to MX 211 and they like that, they're a beginner, this is their kind of track. But then that same person goes to back 40, it's super gnarly rough, they hate it, they bash it, they tell other buddies that it sucks or whatever. Those guys don't ever even give it a chance. That's a misinterpretation.
Yeah.
MX 211 is made for your just regular rider. I'm not a racer, not trying to get better really. I'm just trying to go and enjoy putting around on my dirt bike.
Yeah, well, and like my buddy who used to be one of my old coworkers, he came down here to see y'all recently. He has 2 kids that are kind of getting into riding and just, like I said, learning how to shift their gears, use a clutch, and not stall the bike. And that was one of the places I suggested was, there. I think, what's the other track near there? MX Jansen's track.
Oh, Indian Hills?
Indian Creek.
Indian Creek.
Like yeah. And I was just like, there's that place. NIMS has their night track.
Yep.
These are all great places that I think, is not too far from home, and which I also think can scare some people off getting into the sport is, oh man, we got to drive 2 hours, to go get a track.
Yeah.
But, there are some good places getting into it. Get your feet wet, roll over some jumps, things like that, right in our area.
But my main thing is the guys that don't race, and then they go to the tracks that are race tracks, and then they complain.
Yeah, and then the track owner thinks, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Exactly.
Because,
But if you don't race, then you don't really have an opinion on it, on the racetrack, because the racetrack is for the kids that are racing. My deal is, it's not for me all the time.
Yeah.
It's for the kids racing.
Yeah.
The kids growing up racing. Cade Pettigos.
Yeah.
The Brady Littles who we just lost. Sutton Baldwin. Van Oliver. Those kids are going racing.
Yeah.
They're trying to be better. Their parents are spending the money. They need this certain level track. We need to make those level tracks for these kids to grow. The guy that's never going to go out of 2 hours away, he's never going to race.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, you spent money. You did pay your money to come to this track and ride.
Well,
but really and truly,
I don't think
you're just riding and having fun.
When you're paying your $25 and at that point you're under the impression that he's pocketing my $25. You're wrong.
But I still don't. I still don't
Goes
think
into the track.
I still don't think for the industry's sake, your opinion.
So are you saying for the well-being of big tracks, people that don't race shouldn't dictate how that track should be?
Exactly.
I completely agree.
It should only be your serious racer guys.
I agree.
That are saying, hey, and it comes to anything.
And maybe take back the word serious racer guys, but just people that like to go to race, maybe not necessarily thinking, we're going to go pro.
I'm not saying,
but
when I say serious racer, I don't mean a guy that's trying to go pro.
Okay.
You're a serious racer. You race
but I'm never
a dozen times a year.
Yeah.
You're a serious racer. Yeah. We can say you race.
Yeah.
So a guy that goes twice a year to a race, to the local track 30 minutes away, he's not a racer.
No.
He just shows up at his local track, wants to hope to win a trophy. I mean,
I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
That's just, he's still just a guy that rides.
Yeah.
You know, he's not. You could throw me in that category now. You know.
Have you even ridden 2 times this year?
Yeah, I've ridden twice. I've ridden more than twice, but
You got a new bike out there.
yeah, and it's still brand new.
Oh yeah.
But
We're gonna
I
take
just
you, right?
Yeah.
I just think that the guy that spending more money in the industry going to race and the kid that has ambitions to go somewhere, we need to support them.
Well, and also I just think that person that really spends a lot of time at these races has a more broad perspective on, okay, hey, this is what the track should be. This
Yeah.
is how, this is what's good. You know, this is what's not good. Things like that.
Yeah,
And that's
because-
not a jab at people that don't race a lot. You know, I used to not race a lot either, but I've learned so much more from going all these races. And some of the things I probably would have wanted to say to a track owner starting out and I never really raced, I would completely disagree with now.
Yeah. So I will say, if it comes to safety, it's dusty. If there's kickers on the jumps, you know, just a ton of ruts in the face where it's dragging foot pegs,
Yeah.
you got to fix that stuff because that's
Absolutely.
safety.
Yeah.
But if it's not a safety deal, to me, ruts in the corner, braking bumps and acceleration bumps,
Yeah.
there's no safety issue ever with any of that. I told Grayson, would you rather crash fourth gear over a big jump, or would you rather fall going 5 miles an hour in a corner? So,
20
but
times
hold
in the
on,
corner.
exactly. You get 20 times in the corner, or the one time fourth gear over the jump.
No, it's over.
Yeah, I don't want the fourth gear over the jump. I'll
Yeah.
take the
It's a
corner.
long car ride home.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of the guys, they're like, if they fall over 10 times in the day, then they hate it because they're like, well, it's not the track, it's you.
Yeah.
You need to go to some classes. You need to ride more. You need to ride that condition more, and you need to practice that skill and just get better on riding ruts.
Yeah.
It's not a track deal.
Yeah.
The woods guys don't do that. They don't complain or like, oh man, there's some ruts. There's roots. We're gonna cut every root out now. You might as well just clear all the trees out because they got roots. They'd be racing moto then.
I'd go to a woods race.
It wouldn't be a woods race. It'd be moto.
Sign me up. Yeah.
Grayson, you got any 2 cents on the question?
They've heard my 2 cents for 57 episodes. So.
Okay. All right.
I'm the star of the show today.
Yeah,
I like
we're
that.
asking
Yep.
Mac all the questions.
Question number 3. Would a different promoter make a difference? I think we kind of already talked about this a
Well,
little bit.
and to kind of add to that, I'm 24 now. I didn't even go to a motocross track until I was 18, and then it was a year until I went to one again. So pretty much 19 is when I started really kind of riding motocross tracks. I've never been around this area when there's been a promoter, so I can't really comment on that. You know, like you said, King of the Hill had it figured out for a while until they kind of added to try and add more rounds, which, you know, that was before I ever knew how to use the clutch on a bike. So I wasn't really relevant then. But I mean, I'm definitely think a promoter would just mean more communication, which would ultimately absolutely be better.
Yeah. And just somebody to help keep everything managed a little
Right.
better.
Yep.
You know.
I think we talked about that.
Yeah, we did. We talked about that a little bit. All right. What do you want to see changed on the local level?
Well, I mean, if we could have 20 more tracks around here, that'd be awesome. But I mean, I know that's not going to happen. But
Something realistic.
realistically, I would like to see more people race. I love going to the practice track. We were just talking the first 10, 15 minutes of this show, talking about how much fun we just had practicing in Golden Pines this past weekend. But I think that a lot of people don't give racing a fair shot like they should, and they don't realize kind of what they're missing out on. You know, if you can kind of overcome the nerves that you maybe get on race day or something, and realize, hey, you know, this time hanging out in between motos or something, which there should be less classes. We'll get to that, but
I agree.
That was
know,
my thing. He said it.
I think you can kind of realize like, hey, that's more time to hang out with your buddies. Racing, you learn so much more in 4 laps racing than you do in a 20-minute moto just out there by yourself thinking you're pushing yourself, you know?
Yeah.
I think locally what I'd want to see change is more people giving racing a shot.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you have to go drive 8 hours and spend a ton of money on some big race. But
Yeah. I mean, I agree with all that. That's a good thing that would need to change. But I remember before, like, I was probably B class, and my dad's still racing, and he had a bunch of buddies that raced with him younger. They got older. They just rode a lot. in the local track, which would be most of the time. I remember my dad going off on them at Golden Pine a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they're all down there hanging out watching at a race at Golden Pine. And my dad's like, why are y'all not all here racing, supporting Randy, a guy that's your friend, that, you know, is our local guy that's got this track. Y'all are all just out here hanging out. Like, where's your bikes? Why aren't you racing? And all of them want to say, oh, man, I can't race. I don't race because, you know, I don't want to push it like that and all. And it's like, you control how fast you go on the motorcycle. You control how much you push it. Like, can you not just go out there and ride?
Well,
and I know guys that will race. I think woods guys are better at it than moto guys, because there's woods guys I know that will start last and they just ride. They're just the cleanup crew. They might help guys that fall, whatever. They're just riding and enjoying it, but they signed up, paid their money, supported the race, you know.
Yeah.
And those are guys that don't care to actually get better, really.
Well,
they're just enjoying their dirt bike.
And I think a lot of people locally, too, if they did come give some of the local races more of a shot, would be surprised as to how different some of our local tracks are on race day. You know, they can get a lot rougher in different types of ways, you know, than just the practice track.
So from my perspective on like is racing more dangerous than practice? I mean, at my speed, I don't feel like that I'm out of control racing or in more danger than when I'm just practicing. You know, and actually practicing, I might try something that I wouldn't try in a race.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going to screw me up in the race.
Yeah.
And if I'm out front or something, or if I'm in second and I can see Spencer.
See him a half a track ahead of you. Maybe not even.
I mean, hey,
you can't.
I don't want him the whole track ahead of me. So you know,
you can't smell him. You can see him though.
We saw whose bike you're working on when I got here.
So. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that it's any more dangerous. You get that a lot. Guys are like, oh, it's more dangerous if I go race. And
I tell everybody,
really
pretty much once the gate drops and you make it through that first 2 turns,
everybody spaces out.
To people your speed, you know, and a lot of the times, it spaces out to where you're kind of in your own race.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of those.
If a guy's all over you, look, if a guy's all over you and you feel like you're having to push the issue to hold him off, let him by. Whatever. It's just a race.
You got work tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's a mentality thing, and we got to break through that mentality.
But I definitely think that if I could change one thing, it would just for more people to give racing a shot. I was kind of against it at first and just kind of tried to push myself into it, and turns out I love it. You know, I like riding practice. That's fun, but to me, racing is just 10 times more fun. And
I'm the same way.
I get 100% more out of it.
Yeah,
I'm the same.
I think we're just we're built different. I think that's what all we are. Because you talk about like people who don't race. It's like, while I lined up at NIMS for like the race for Sarah, whatever, and I was on the gate for College Boy. I'm sitting there and I told it was Drew that was just pitting for us, and I'm like, dude, why am I nervous? Like, I'm just sitting on the gate and I have no idea. This isn't for anything, and I'm sitting there nervous.
Because I was on the gate.
Yeah, you're next to me too. I'm scared of that. But I was like, that's just like. That's awesome. Like that's what that nervousness, that feeling you get. It's like, dude, that's like.
And then the gate drops, and you've got that adrenaline.
Yeah, and then you're just fucking gone. And then just like the hours that me and Mac have had between motos of just bench racing on what just happened. Like we were in 2 different races in the same race, and we're trying to explain to each other and dude, yeah, this section. We're like, boom, and just like, and it's like stuff like that you don't really have when you go practice. Like. You still have, if you're around the right people, your crew on a practice day, it might be fun. Like if you go on a Sunday after Supercross on a practice day,
you're talking about Anaheim.
Yeah. Y'all just all, I mean, that's fun. But then like you go race, dude, you're talking about that one moto you did until the next race.
You're talking about that guy you battled with in last place.
Yeah,
and you're fired up about it.
Yeah, that's what I think's I think if people do it once, like Matt said earlier, you can't do it once and have a bad taste in your mouth. Like. You got
just give it a couple shots. Go to the local race. You don't, like I said, you don't have to drive 10 hours. Just give it a shot. Get some gate drops in. Sign up for 3 to 4 classes and just see what you think. You know, and I guarantee, minus a very bad wreck, I think you'll say you had a good day.
Yeah, like at at NIMS, like it was just we pitted next to Holly and Drew, and dude, just had more fun just hanging out. And then we're like, oh God, we gotta go race. Like Matt came to the track. He's like, I was trying to convince myself I'm racing today. Like I just thought we were just going to ride. And so like that's what I think. That's what I think. The
bigger turnout would have helped that.
Yeah, I think that's what the local scene does. Like we're not going to the track in the middle of Iowa for a regional with the fastest 40 guys in the region. That's two different scenarios that you don't have to do that. That's just our little kick we like to do. You could sit there and ride local every weekend and then do the local race. And
when I was growing up, I mean, half of the fun and what I wanted to do, I wanted to go to the track for the weekend to the race because all my buddies were going to be there.
Yeah.
And we get to hang out and have a good time. Same with my kids. I don't know how much they care about the racing part of it. They like it.
Yeah.
But they like hanging out with all their buddies.
Yeah.
They like to run around at the track.
Yeah, they like taking their bicycle.
Well, you just get the experiences you get and stuff. And even on the race, like with having my kids, they'll race and they might get a start over a kid and they get kind of push themselves a little bit. And then you talk to them about it and you see they learn something from it.
Yeah.
Or even like at my level, the last time we raced at NIMS, Drew Adams showed up. When am I going to get to race with him? Ever.
Never.
I would never be able to race with him.
Yeah.
But he shows up at that. Me, him, and Logan. He shows me and Logan how to ride. But I mean, I got a whole shot on him. I got to battle with him a little.
This 15-year-old kid is so
he's 14. He's 14. Freshly 14 at that time. Dude, the kid's for real. But no, what was cool?
Green bike, I guess.
Yeah, what was cool is after the moto, after like our first moto, he kind of knew Logan a little bit. He didn't know me at all. He comes over to Logan's where we're at, and he hangs out in between every moto. Yeah. He comes over, hangs out, us three talking about every moto we had, just talking, having a good time. I got to meet this kid who's a super good kid.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for me going to the local race, that would have never happened. Yeah. And it's little things like that people, they just overlook and they just think that, well, what's racing going to do for me? Yeah. Well, who cares if you win the trophy or anything like that? Look at the experience.
Yeah, it's going to make you better. It's going to make you meet some cool people you never otherwise would have met.
But there's so much to it.
Yeah, like you'll be able to tell, like your kids met Drew Adams when Drew Adams goes pro. Riders you meet at school, like I met him.
Or if he's at a Supercross and we go, and I go, and we go in the pits, I'll be like, hey, man, remember racing me at NAMS? Yeah. He's going to remember that. Yeah. And then my kids, dude, who knows? Get a jersey or something out of the deal. Yeah. But it's things like that you make those experiences that you're not going to make that at the practice track. Because you're not going to talk to anybody.
Oh, yeah. And to like to that point, when you do maybe start going to some bigger races or something, like, we've met a lot of people these past 2 years that we've watched on TV this summer. And I mean, that's super cool to me. It's like, oh, man,
we just watched College Boy.
Fully by me, but we still were talking and staging, and it's cool.
Yeah, I think we're just talking Minios. We just watched in the top. We raced this year. We raced 15 out of the top 20 guys at Minios, and I bet you, we said some words to at least half of the ones we raced because we're just at the gate, and they're old enough to know, like, to turn. They're old enough to flip it on and off the switch. They're not like the young schoolboy ones who like, I'm going to the gate and with the blinders on. They're old enough to realize and talk. And like we talked to like some cool fast dudes, like great take. Like he was like, I might do Anaheim 1, whatever. And me and Mac were like, that's sick. Like
same. I think we'll be watching.
Yeah.
Hey, or when we went to Lazy River.
Oh yeah. I just forgot.
Nate Mason.
Nate Mason, my buddy, dude.
We see him jump that quad.
Yeah, and then the next race, I'm just like talking to him, and like he's like super young for what I thought he was, but he talked to this fat kid on a gas next to me. He won't remember me, but I'm just like, when I talked to him, he was cool. And we talked to the Dunlop dude. Gosh, I'm gonna embarrass Wetland.
Jesse Wentland?
Yeah.
So because I'm on the gate with Wentland, and I'm gated right beside him, we're talking to him, just normal dude, we're talking, hanging out in the, in staging the whole time, talk to him about Dunlop. He's a Dunlop test rider. We wouldn't have got that at a practice day.
No.
Then I'm in sign up, line for sign up. Guy in front of me, We just start talking, just, small talk. Tells me he's from like New Hampshire, Delaware, somewhere way up north. And I'm like, dude, you're a long ways from home. He's like, oh, I've been in North Carolina, been living there. I was like, oh, you're a club? He's like, no, I'm Chad Reed's YouTuber. I'm like, wait, what? Seriously? Am I going to meet that guy like anywhere else?
Yeah.
He's a sea rider, but who cares? But he's
yeah.
got this cool gig. I'm not going to meet him at the practice track, but I got to talk to this dude for an hour waiting in line to sign up.
Yeah.
Who knows? I run into them somewhere and he's like, hey, Chad, this guy, we're on the same gate or whatever at a regional, and this guy's filming, kind of a connection there.
Yeah.
You don't make those at a practice track.
Yeah.
There's just,
I think
the connection with Wentland.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could go on for like hours of just the little things that I'll remember probably for the rest of my life. Just not even meeting cool people, like just at Lazy River, just hung out with a bunch of drunks watching Supercross one day. Coolest experience, that was awesome. Like, just things that I think.
Well, it sounds like you kind of want to be more on that side of the fence.
Should we
hang up the booth?
I'm like,
some of my really good friends, I don't see a lot. I don't even talk to a whole lot, but they were some of my best friends growing up. They don't live in Mississippi. They were a lot of them in Texas, and that's just because we raced.
Yeah.
And we were going racing in Texas,
Yeah.
So those guys became really good friends of mine. And if we just stayed home and practiced and never raced, I wouldn't have had that. I would have just had my school buddies, and I wouldn't have made these other friends, that.
Yeah.
So it's just, to me,
well, and to dial back a little bit, back to what I was saying, it's not all about going to the big races 10 hours away.
Yeah.
But even with the local races, you'd be surprised, the people you meet, the moments you have on the track, and the way that the track might be different from every other practice weekend you've ridden it this year.
I got a good one.
Fun.
I got a good one because of local race. This could be good or it could be bad. I met my wife at Lake MX, little local track, Central Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
I just got back from Loretta's. Me and Johnny both went, and I just went to the local race because, hey, it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
Local race.
Support, have fun.
Yep. I'd already talked to her a couple of times at some practices before Loretta's, but that weekend or that day I talked to her more,
because you just came back from Loretta's.
Probably, maybe.
So she saw you. She saw
two-digit from Loretta's. It's just, she's ready.
Oh my God! I bet your head is massive going up to this girl.
No, I think Johnny beat me.
He's
So
wearing his bib.
No, so
Like,
but what I'm saying is,
he's like, you think he saw it?
Can I see the bib?
Like what I'm saying is, they didn't race at a level to even really know what Loretta's is or care.
Right.
But I'm at the local race or whatever. So it's more, I went to the local race. What if I didn't race local, or what if I just practiced?
Yeah.
And it's just, I never went to the same place they went to.
So you're trying to say, hey, go to local racing, you might meet your future wife.
You might meet your wife.
What track were you at again?
Lake MX. So, all right. This next question, last one I have, I think it was what you were going to change. Do we have too many classes?
Yes.
And this goes for more than local, but I feel like on a national level, it's not as big of a problem because you fill all the classes. It takes 3 weeks to have a race,
I would say.
But Mini O's, it started on Sunday. It used to start racing on Tuesday.
No.
Yeah.
They had to bump it up 2 days because they added 15 classes.
I think locally, absolutely. I think big races, mostly, yes, too many classes. And I think the whole Loretta system, I think, like you said, it fills up. But I still think almost there are too many classes for that. I've never made it to Loretta, so I don't know how much I can even comment on that. But just going through the system of just areas and regionals trying to get better, there are a lot of classes. And I think that the local tracks see how successful that is. And they're like, oh, well, okay, we'll have 35 classes, and next thing you know, gives people the bad taste of, oh, we're waiting around all day. We only raced 3 other people. Yeah, I got a plaque because they bought trophies for 5th place, but there was only 3 people in the class. I think local races need to just cut it in half, if not more.
So that's where I'm at. We need to have somewhere between 15 and 20 classes, but everything needs to be a double gate. I don't think we need more than a dozen gate drops. So
No.
Moto 1 order there's 1 to 12.
Yep.
No more than that.
Less classes, longer motos, and that's why Grayson and I, we went and did Matt Walker's King's Cup race back in February, and plan on doing it again. And that was the whole idea behind that race. It was an AMA featured event with, less than 20 classes from 50s to 450s, and it was 20-minute motos, and it wasn't. There was no reason to say, oh, I didn't get enough time on the track today, and we sat around all day. There was some sitting around, but when we were on the track, it was like, we're looking for the checkered flag at the end. We wanted it off.
Like,
it was long.
With Fast Farms, I did in July. I did 2 classes, and Eli did 2 different classes, so I had to go up for him. There wasn't a lot of. I never sat around. Like I had to tell Eli, like, hey, dude, I don't know if I can go to a gate with you because I just need to sit here for a minute.
That was the one where they did longer motos,
Yeah,
right?
longer motos, and it was only big bikes this day, little bikes. Well, mostly big bikes, 2 little bike classes. The next day it was mostly little bikes, 2 big bike classes. But I had to tell Eli, like, dude, like, I need to just sit this one out because I had to sit here just to recuperate for my next moto because I'm about to go do another 15 in 95-degree weather. Like, I need some water. And so, like, I think I'm all aboard something like that. And even with back 40 last time, they did a bunch of double gates, and I feel like we didn't sit around that much.
Yeah, when it rained, they had a bunch of double gates, and I feel like that's what we gotta have. So, to me, if you do like 15-minute motos and everybody can at least race 2 classes, I think that's enough.
Yeah,
I mean that could be an hour on the motorcycle.
Yeah,
I feel like so if you can just make sure that hey, if the guy rides this class, he could also ride this class. Or maybe this class, and you just figure it out the correct way. And then one thing, though, that I feel like they're scared around here is if there's 15 dudes, they're like, oh, we can't put that with another class. Dude, if there's not 40, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. You can't put 40 on back 40. I don't think.
Well, I mean, maybe not track specifically right now.
But NIMS, I think you could probably have close to 30.
NIMS, I mean, you could do. Could you not do a gate? You let the first gate go. Say 250C's got 20 in it. You let them go, and then, I mean, what could go with C? It would not be too dangerous.
It's hard to find that one.
I mean, a couple vet classes.
Like a vet class, like plus 40.
Yeah.
Okay, so you let 250C go, and that track's big enough. You got to let them get pretty far out. Yeah. I feel like a lot of double gate, the guys don't understand, and they let them go really quick. Dude, let those guys, well, you got to, I guess it is pretty short. When the first guy is coming up to the single, drop the gate.
That gives plenty of time.
That's half the track pretty much. Then the first guy, if the plus 40 guy would have to be blazing fast to catch way up into C.
Yeah.
And by the time he does catch up, he's passing one guy. They're spaced way out. They're probably a little more tired.
Yep.
So say you got 10 plus 40s. And you have 30 guys on the track.
That's fine.
I don't feel like that's not too much.
I don't think
No, absolutely not. No.
And I feel like our area is not used to seeing that.
Yeah.
Even when I went to McLarty, they had 42 65s total. The guy split the practice. And that's why I was so late, because he kept splitting the practices. No. I'm like, dude, put them all out there. It's practice, dude.
Yeah.
Like, space them out, one kid at a time. Let him go. Give him a couple seconds. Let the next kid go. A couple seconds. Let the next kid go.
Yeah.
But have a couple of you there, making sure these kids aren't just taking off.
Yeah.
Let them go one at a time. Space them out a little bit. Once they get out on the track, it's not too many on a track that's decent size.
Yeah.
And that helps your time. When you split it up and you have, now I got 2 practices, but I've got 10 practices. Now I got 25 practices. Some of them I split in 3. Now it's 12 o'clock before you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'd really encourage a lot more people to come out and race with less classes locally.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, less time sitting around. I also think just plain straight up more fun when the gate drops. There's more bikes around you. Like, that's exciting. It gets your adrenaline going that much more. And there's more to talk about when you come back in the truck.
And it's better for the kids they're trying to be at a higher level. They're learning more when they gate with more guys.
Yep.
And honestly,
and the way the track gets,
to me, I'm okay with all going on one gate. I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah.
You alternate. So say when you draw pins, if it's 2 classes, everybody just draws. You come up, you draw your pin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what class you're in.
Yeah.
And then for the second moto, first place, the guy that finished first.
Yeah.
Like he might. So say first and second were in the same class.
Yeah.
But the guy that got second's not going to get the second gate pick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could do it because of their speed. But your computer wouldn't tell you this, so you would have to have somebody writing this down. But you would be like, in the order they cross the finish line, not going by their class, would be your gate pick.
Yeah.
And then so then that would kind of somewhat be fair versus staggering it. This guy gets first, he won, so he gets first gate pick. He won the slower class, he gets second gate pick.
Yeah.
Second in the faster class gets third gate pick. Instead of doing that,
I don't see a problem with that.
Either way, I don't think would be a problem.
But I would love to get gate drops with 30, 40 guys in it. Just
Me too.
Even if I was in another, even if I was the sole, even if I'm getting a gate drop with 450A.
I mean, you did that at Lazy River.
Oh yeah.
That was full gates.
Yeah, that was a full gate of
40 guys.
Of All-Star. And I know it's about to hurt with the roost and I'm about to get dead last, but that first to the gate, with that many people, it's a different atmosphere, and that's the thing I struggle with. I can't hear my bike, and so I have no idea how I could feel it, but it's different when I'm just doing stars by myself.
Yeah.
I could hear the RPM.
Little things like
that's
that
the thing.
when you go to local races, and then you finally get to a big race, and you're on the gate, and you're like, oh wait, I can't tell which one's my bike now.
Yeah. I hear Mac
So-
next to me with this.
So you
Kawasaki.
say that you can't hear. So when I start, I'm not listening to my bike. I'm feeling the RPMs, and then I'm feeling the speed once the gate drops of where I'm at, and I'm just shifting as I feel the RPMs. It's not that I'm hearing it,
I'm different
because I'm I feel like I'm in a zone where it's just there's nothing. Even the guys beside me, I'm zoned out. They're not even there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just focused on that.
Yeah.
And I feel like experience gets you to where you can get that, and you can just focus on that.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm horrible at.
And if you don't have 40 guys on the gate or 30 or something, how do you ever get that? You're never going to get it.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
you got your questions?
Oh yes, sir, I do.
Oh boy.
I'm here with Mac Treadwell on the podium. I'm kidding. The first one, we raced all over the South and even into the North this year. What's your favorite track ever?
That's a loaded question.
Yes, sir.
It's not loaded. He doesn't own any of them.
Yeah, I'm just
No, I just mean there's a lot of tracks.
Yeah, what's your top three? Give me your top three, just so you don't have to pick one.
Top three, no particular order.
No particular order.
I mean, Monster Mountain for sure is up there.
Okay.
I'd really like to put Oak Ridge, even though we didn't really get it without a bunch of mud.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll skip that one for now, and it'll give me a reason to go back.
Yeah, for sure.
And Monster Mountain, I can't really say Mill Creek. It's gone. I didn't necessarily love the dirt, but I loved the layout of the track.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Monster Mountain, Ironman, and well, this year only or years past?
No, any time you've ever been, Texas, we've been.
Monster Mountain, Ironman, and probably Swan. Yeah, I think I love all those tracks because they're big, they're challenging, but in their own way, they're all different. From the dirt to the layout, and for the most part, minus a couple parts, most of those tracks are very, very good for all
ages.
skill levels and ages. Yeah, and I've had a blast every single time I've been to any of those. And I would recommend any of those three if anybody ever gets the chance to go and race.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. See if you could. People around here, you've been to a lot. You've been to probably more than I have, and so it's cool to just see some guy from you're not an A-level guy, so it's not like Jay going. He's like, yeah, dude, it's just bootered. What did it? You're just
no, this is a kid that may or may not hit the giant triple, and most times probably not. So I've had fun at all three of those. So.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
What about you? What's your favorite track? I mean, I don't know. You can go back as far as you want.
Favorite
Tracks, top three, no order.
Millville,
I've heard
Redbud. Even though the last time I went to Redbud, it sucked because it was muddy. I'm gonna say Millville, Redbud. Man, I don't know. It's tough.
Texas, maybe.
No, I mean I'm good at Swan, but I'm not gonna put it as like one of these all-time tracks that I've been to.
Yeah.
Oh, but Bud's is good, Bud's Creek. But I kind of want to say Glen Helen.
That's cool.
Fucky.
Yeah.
Glen Helen was gnarly. Like it's scary,
It looks
but
cool.
it was fun. It was. We rode it during the week and on a race weekend, and I went 2 years in a row.
So you got your last pro points, right?
I got some of my pro points there. Yeah, let's say Glen Helen because I enjoyed it.
What about you?
Man, that's a tough one because Daytona. Yeah, because I would have to go Skytop in Florida. It was muddy, but the way
I forgot you went.
Yeah, I went by myself.
I'm coming with you this year.
Yeah, I went by myself. The only other people there were some quad kids, and I was just by myself, and I could make my own lines. But like how it was unprepped and everything, but it was still gnarly.
Yeah,
and it was sick. It was pretty fast. There was some fast straights. That's one I like that one a lot. I would have to Oak Ridge, just for the scenery too. You're the way.
Really cool. Middle of nowhere, Iowa.
Yeah, you look across.
Beautiful
You look
track.
across the field, and it's just like a hillside full of cows.
Picturesque.
Yeah, it's and yeah, the track was really cool. Big enough jumps where you could throw some style, but nothing
super scary.
Yeah,
there.
nothing super like I'm gonna die on. And the third one,
nothing do or die. Necessarily. Yeah.
The third one, I haven't really been to Texas a lot. I would say Monster. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's a hard one to beat, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I'm thinking anywhere in Georgia. I don't know, Silver
Dollar's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but I still like Monster.
Didn't get to spend much time on the track, but
yeah, I still like Monster. And my last question for you is, so this goes back to just how you came up. What clicked for you? Because you said you didn't really start going to tracks until 19. So, what clicked for you that realized, hey, I have to, I need to ride rough tracks. You have the perfect excuse. Hey man, I started super late. I just want to go. I just want to go do NIMS night race, and I want to do MX211 and all this. I don't want to go do these gnarly rough tracks because I didn't grow up on it. What made you realize hey, this is what I want to go here, and here all the time?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't grow up riding. I got a CRF 70 when I was 11 for my birthday, and I thought dirt bikes were cool. I rented a movie from Blockbuster every weekend. It was an X Games movie, and I just liked watching the dirt bikes. Begged my parents for a dirt bike, didn't get one, and then, like I said, got that 70. And then that just sat in the garage while I played lacrosse all growing up, and then got a big dirt bike again later in high school, and then just still even rode around my farm. Sold the farm, and then kind of went to college down in Alabama, and then really kind of went to a track for the first time around then when I was like 18, 19. And I mean, I think NIMS night race would have been like my first race, and then I think I did like a Tunica Arena Cross after that. So that was my second class or second race, probably in just both beginner classes, rolling every jump out there. And I think what clicked for me was I had fun at several of the places I had gone locally, made some friends. I met Tucker, and then I just kind of started seeing on Facebook maybe some other tracks and started going. And then I was like, man, it'd be cool if I kind of got into racing more. I've had fun, and man, these bigger tracks, it would be cool to go do some races here and go to some tracks you wouldn't normally go to. And I think ultimately just the dream of most kids of, it'd be cool to make it to Loretta someday, and just kind of stuck with that and realized, if I do ever want to try and go there someday, it's not just going to happen riding the NIMS night track.
Hey guys, what's up? So we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Tried to have more guests on and didn't have all the right equipment hooked up. So we had to take the audio from the video file. So it kind of cut out the end of it because on the video we didn't have enough space on the computer, and it stopped after I think like an hour and a half. So we went really long on the podcast, and it definitely affected us. But anyway, just wanted to get on and at the end of this episode and let you know why it just abruptly stopped, close out, and tell you guys to like, subscribe, share, anything Shop Moto Pod. And we'll try and do these things a little more regular. Hope to see you guys soon. Thanks.